Of all the conversations I've had in my 20 years as a doctor, some of the most vulnerable ones, often whispered in lowered voice, have been from older women asking, "Is it still okay to touch myself?" And I want to say this, right at the start. Yes, this video is about masturbation in older women. Not because it's trendy, not because it's shocking, but because it matters. You see, there's a quiet truth that many people don't talk about, especially as we age. A truth that often carries shame, silence, and guilt. Yet more and more women over 60, even into their 70s and 80s, are asking themselves, is it still normal to feel desire? Is this urge something I should be ashamed of? Is it healthy? Or am I doing something wrong? Let's pause for a second. Would you believe me if I told you that masturbation, something so natural, can actually help reduce anxiety, improve sleep, relieve vaginal dryness, and even support heart health in older women? And yet, because of outdated taboos and cultural expectations, so many women are left feeling isolated, wondering if they're the only ones with these questions. I remember one patient in particular. She was 74, kind, sharp, and deeply thoughtful. She leaned forward during her visit and whispered, "Dr. Bennett, can I ask you something personal?" Her eyes teared up, not from pain, but from years of carrying shame around something so simple, so human. That conversation changed the way I see aging. Because she wasn't alone. She represented thousands of women, just like her women, who still feel, still wonder, still hope. That's why today, we're going to talk about masturbation in older women with the honesty, warmth, and science it deserves. We'll separate fact from fiction, talk about what really happens in your body, and why this conversation is not about sex, it's about connection. Connection to your health, your happiness, your dignity. So if you've ever felt unsure, curious, or even a little embarrassed, stay with me. We're going to walk through this together. Because the truth? It's not just okay. It might be one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself. Let's start where so many people feel confused. Why do older women still have sexual desire? It's a question I hear more than you might think. Because somewhere along the way, society decided that once a woman hits menopause, her sexuality just evaporates. But that's not true. Not biologically, not emotionally, and certainly not spiritually. After menopause, the levels of estrogen and progesterone in a woman's body drop significantly. That shift can absolutely lead to changes like vaginal dryness or a longer time to reach arousal. But it does not mean that the capacity for pleasure disappears, nor does it mean the desire itself goes away. You see, sexual desire isn't just a hormone switch. It's tied to memory, emotion, physical touch, intimacy, and even identity. And just like our appetite for food or our need for connection, the desire for sexual pleasure often remains with us through every stage of life. Now, I want to tell you about a woman I once treated. I'll call her Margaret. Margaret was 72, a retired school principal, widowed for nearly a decade. She came in for a routine checkup, but as the appointment ended, she hesitated. She looked at me and said, almost apologetically, "I didn't think I would still feel this way. But sometimes, at night, I do. I think about intimacy, and I don't know what to do with that." She smiled nervously and waited, expecting judgment. But I told her what I'm telling you now. You're not broken. You're human. Margaret's story is not rare. In fact, it's more common than people realize. Desire doesn't have an expiration date. It doesn't stop because your periods have stopped. And it certainly doesn't stop because society has decided that older women shouldn't talk about sex. Sometimes, after retirement or after children have grown, women begin to rediscover parts of themselves they never had time to explore. And yes, sometimes that includes desire, pleasure, intimacy, even curiosity. And here's something that may surprise you. I've met women in their 80s, yes, 80s who have told me they feel more alive, more in touch with their bodies now than ever before. They say things like, "For the first time in my life, I'm not pleasing anyone else. I'm learning what feels good for me." Isn't that beautiful? It's not about needing someone else to validate you. It's not about being sexy in the way the media defines it. It's about listening to your own body and recognizing that your needs, your right to feel joy, pleasure, and closeness don't disappear with age. They evolve. So, if you've ever felt conflicted because you still have that spark, that curiosity, please hear me when I say this. You are not alone, and you have nothing to be ashamed of. Coming up next, we'll talk about one of the biggest concerns I hear from my patients. Is masturbation harmful for older women? Let me answer that clearly: no, it's not harmful. In fact, when done mindfully and in moderation, it can be incredibly beneficial. Let's start with the biology. When a woman masturbates, whether in her 30s or her 70s, her body goes through a series of natural responses. One of the most powerful is the release of a hormone called oxytocin. You might have heard it called the love hormone. It promotes feelings of relaxation, emotional bonding, and trust. But it also has physical effects. Oxytocin helps reduce blood pressure, lowers the body's stress hormone cortisol, and can lead to a greater sense of calm and well-being. So NOTH isn't just about pleasure, it's about health. You see, as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to stress. And unfortunately, many older adults, especially women, experience chronic stress, loneliness, or sleep disturbances. Masturbation, as simple as it sounds, can be one of the body's most natural tools to counteract that. It lowers cortisol, it raises endorphins, it helps the nervous system unwind. And that brings us to the heart, literally. There have been studies that show how sexual activity, including solo activity, can support cardiovascular health. During arousal and orgasm, the heart rate increases slightly, blood vessels dilate, and circulation improves. This mild cardiovascular workout is generally safe and even beneficial for most older adults, unless there's an existing medical condition that would suggest otherwise. Now, what about sleep? This one surprises a lot of people. After orgasm, the body often releases not just oxytocin, but also prolactin, a hormone associated with feelings of satisfaction and drowsiness. That's why many people report falling asleep more easily after intimacy. For older women struggling with insomnia or restlessness, especially during menopause or postmenopause, this natural shift in hormones can be a gentle, drug-free way to invite sleep. And here's something I want to make very clear: there is no scientific evidence showing that masturbation causes harm to memory, emotional stability, heart health, or hormonal balance in older women. On the contrary, the science is pointing us in the other direction. In fact, some mental health professionals are now encouraging older patients to explore masturbation as a way to reduce the risk of depression, especially in women who may be isolated, grieving, or adjusting to life transitions. When done with a sense of self-respect and understanding, it becomes more than just a physical act. It becomes a form of self-care, a way of staying connected to your own body, a way of reminding yourself, I am still here, I am still alive, I still matter. So if you've been worrying, is this wrong? Is this unhealthy? Will this hurt me? I hope you're beginning to see that the answer is no, it's not harmful. It's natural, it's safe, and it might even be healing. In our next section, we're going to dive even deeper into the actual benefits of masturbation for women over 60. From hormone support to emotional resilience, you may be surprised just how powerful this quiet act of self-love can be. First, there's pelvic blood flow. After menopause, decreased estrogen levels can lead to a drop in circulation to the pelvic region. That reduction can cause muscles in the area to weaken and tissues to become less elastic. Masturbation helps combat this by stimulating blood flow to the pelvic floor. This increased circulation supports tissue health, promotes muscle tone, and may even help with mild incontinence by strengthening the pelvic floor over time. Next, vaginal dryness, one of the most common complaints I hear from postmenopausal women. When a woman is no longer ovulating, the body stops producing the same levels of natural lubrication it once did. This dryness can lead to discomfort, itching, and even pain during intimacy or daily activities. Masturbation stimulates the vaginal walls and encourages the body to produce more of its natural lubrication even if it's limited. Regular stimulation keeps the tissues more supple, better oxygenated, and, importantly, more comfortable. Then there's sleep, something that becomes more elusive for many women as they age. As we mentioned earlier, orgasm prompts the release of calming hormones like oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins. These act almost like the body's natural sleep aids. Many women report deeper, more restful sleep after masturbating, especially in the evening. And because this method is entirely natural, no pills, no side effects, it's a gentle option worth considering if sleep has become a struggle. Emotionally, there's something equally powerful happening. Masturbation can deepen a woman's connection to her own body. Think about how often we, as women, are taught to care for everyone else's children, partners, aging parents, but rarely encouraged to care for ourselves, especially in a sensual or intimate way. Self-touch, when approached with gentleness and curiosity, can help you feel more in tune with your body. Not to critique it, not to fix it, but to say, "This body has carried me through decades of life. It deserves tenderness." And it doesn't stop there. During arousal and orgasm, the brain releases endorphins, the same feel-good chemicals that are released during exercise or laughter. These natural painkillers help reduce physical discomfort and elevate your mood. Some women describe feeling a renewed sense of vitality after regular solo intimacy. They say things like, "I feel more awake, more alive, like something inside me lit up again." And honestly, that doesn't surprise me. Because in a world that often tells older women to be quiet, invisible, or irrelevant, there is something deeply affirming about reclaiming your own pleasure on your own terms. Masturbation isn't about fantasy or escape. It's about presence. It's about grounding yourself in your body, even as it changes. It's about saying, "I am still here, I still feel, and I still matter." Coming up, we're going to explore the common myths, those persistent, damaging beliefs that have made so many older women feel ashamed or afraid of their own desire. Let's shine a light on them, one by one. Cultural messages, religious teachings, and long-held family beliefs have created a cloud of shame around self-pleasure. For many women, especially those raised in conservative households or in generations where sex was never discussed openly, the message was simple: masturbation is wrong. Let's begin there. The idea that masturbation is bad or dirty is one of the oldest and most damaging myths still circulating today. This belief wasn't born from science or health, it was rooted in control, silence, and fear. For centuries, women's sexuality was considered something to be hidden, suppressed, or reserved solely for marriage and procreation. But let's be clear, there is nothing inherently wrong or immoral about self-touch. The body you inhabit is yours. Exploring it, understanding it, and honoring it should never be a source of guilt, especially not when done with respect, awareness, and care. Another misconception that breaks my heart is the idea that masturbation is something only lonely or sick people do, that it's a sign of desperation, or that it replaces real connection. This couldn't be further from the truth. Masturbation doesn't mean you're broken, or that you've given up on companionship. In fact, many happily married women also engage in solo intimacy not because they're unhappy, but because it's a healthy, independent part of self-care. It's about connecting with yourself, not replacing anyone else. And for single women or widows, it can be a beautiful way to maintain a sense of vitality, agency, and comfort, without the need for another person's presence or permission. Then there's the myth that masturbation causes memory loss, emotional instability, or mental health decline in older adults. Let me say this as clearly as possible. There is no scientific evidence supporting that claim. None. No credible medical study has shown that masturbation harms the brain, damages hormones, or leads to cognitive decline. If anything, the release of endorphins and the regulation of stress hormones like cortisol may actually support mental well-being. In my years of practice, I've seen many women who felt calmer, happier, and more grounded after learning to embrace self-pleasure without guilt. So why do these myths continue to survive? Because silence allows them to. Because we rarely hear older women talking openly about desire or pleasure. Because shame thrives in the absence of conversation. But here's the truth. It's not masturbation that hurts women. It's the shame around it. It's the unspoken rules, the silence at the dinner table, the lack of representation in media, the idea that older women are somehow supposed to shut down, fade out, or stop feeling. You deserve better than that. You deserve truth. And more than anything, you deserve to feel whole in body, in mind, and in spirit. So as we begin to dismantle these old narratives, let's shift our focus to something deeply practical. How can women over 60 explore masturbation safely, comfortably, and with confidence? First, let's talk about comfort. As we age, our bodies may become less flexible, and joints or muscles might not respond the way they used to. That's perfectly normal. The key is to find a position that supports your body without causing strain. Whether lying on your back with a pillow under your knees, reclining in a supportive chair, or simply propping yourself comfortably in bed, listen to what your body needs. There is no right way. There is only your way. Start slowly. You don't need to rush. Sometimes, just placing your hand gently over your lower abdomen or pelvis and breathing deeply can help you reconnect. It's not just about stimulation, it's about presence. Now, let's talk about something many women are hesitant to bring up, but it's important: lubrication. After menopause, reduced estrogen can lead to dryness or sensitivity in the vaginal area. This isn't unusual, and it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Using a good hormone-free lubricant can make a world of difference. Look for water-based or silicone-based products that are free from fragrances and irritants. There are even lubricants designed specifically for postmenopausal women, formulated to nourish and protect sensitive tissue. Think of lubricant not as something shameful, but as a tool of self-care, just like lotion for your skin or moisturizer for your face. Your body deserves that same level of compassion. Next, hygiene. Wash your hands before and after, especially if you're using any products or aids. And if you choose to use a vibrator or personal massager, keep it clean and store it in a dry, safe place. You don't need anything fancy, just something you feel safe and comfortable with. But beyond the physical steps, let's talk about something even more powerful: your mindset. Too many women approach their bodies with criticism, judgment, or fear. But you are not your age. You are not the number on the calendar, or the changes in your skin, or the limitations you've been told to accept. You are a whole, feeling, sensual human being. And the way you speak to yourself, the way you touch yourself, can reflect that. Instead of approaching self-pleasure with guilt or shame, try to approach it as an act of gratitude. A way to say, "Thank you, body. Thank you for all the years, for all the strength, for still feeling, still responding, still being mine." And finally, when should you reach out to a doctor? If you're experiencing ongoing physical discomfort like burning, pain, or irritation, please don't hesitate to bring it up. There are often simple solutions, whether it's a change in lubricant, topical estrogen, or another support. Likewise, if feelings of shame or sadness linger and they're affecting your emotional well-being, talking with a therapist or counselor can be a life-changing step. Masturbation is not supposed to feel like a punishment. It's not supposed to bring guilt. If it does, it may be time to gently explore where those feelings come from with someone who can help you find freedom on the other side. Because caring for your mental health, it begins with listening to your body. And maybe, just maybe, allowing yourself to feel again without apology. In just a moment, we'll wrap things up with one simple, powerful reminder. This journey of rediscovering pleasure, self-trust, and dignity, it's yours, and it's worth honoring. So, where does this all leave us? We've spent the last several minutes exploring a topic that, for far too long, has lived in whispers and shadows. But what we've uncovered together is this. Masturbation in older women isn't taboo. It isn't shameful, and it certainly isn't unhealthy. It's normal. It's natural. And in many cases, it's one of the most meaningful forms of self-care a woman can give herself in later life. We've seen how it improves blood flow, reduces dryness, calms anxiety, supports sleep, and releases powerful hormones that lift your mood and protect your heart. We've also seen how it can reconnect you not just with your body but with your sense of self, with the woman you've always been beneath the noise and expectation. And maybe, most importantly, we've named the lies, the cultural baggage, the silence. We've stood together and said, no more shame. If you take just one thing from this video, I hope it's this. Your pleasure, your curiosity, your touch, they don't need permission. They deserve celebration. So the next time you feel that spark inside you, that quiet hum of desire or comfort or tenderness, don't silence it. Don't dismiss it. Lean into it, with love, with dignity, with a knowing that you are still whole, still worthy, still beautifully alive. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt afraid or uncertain when it comes to your own pleasure? Have you found healing in rediscovering your body later in life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. You never know who you might help feel seen. And if you found this conversation meaningful, gentle, or empowering, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. We have more honest, heartfelt discussions ahead about aging, intimacy, and everything in between. Until next time, take care of your heart, your body, and the quiet wisdom within. You're not alone on this journey. I'm Dr. Sarah Bennett. I'll see you soon.